Here's Trey.
All right, let's go over our core values. I am destined. I am effective. I am strong. I am teachable. I am intelligent. I am noble. I am yours, Lord.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for another round of life-size Hungry Hippos? Let's bring out our players.
Woo! I won't chew. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Bing bong.
Players, take your positions.
I'm ready. You ready, chicken?
All right. Here we go, Panda. Show them what we're made of. Oh, yeah, that's good center of gravity.
Get ready. Get set. Go!
Gotcha. Ha! Yes! Yes! All of them. Mine, not
And
yours.
they're
I am better.
grabbing the spheres.
I am superior. You are not. Oh,
Steven's looking like he's ahead. Oh, Lawson's really moving across the floor.
Come on. Here we go. Come on.
They're neck and neck.
Soccer ball, chicken.
And
You're on the right.
all the way across the floor, the Panda's really raking him across the coals. Steven's moving for the last big one.
I got the big ball. Basketball, basketball, basketball. Yeah. You got the, where was that one? I didn't see.
Steven wins.
That's not fair. I didn't even see the big one. Fine. Look at that. I'll spot you a point. You can have that one.
May
I
the
didn't
best
want
man
anyway.
win. Because he won.
That's a good one. Okay,
What's next?
what's up?
Now it's time for life-size Jumanji.
Nope, I'm out.
Hey, everybody. I'm Lawson.
And I'm Steven. Welcome to the So-and-So Show.
Oh, look at that. A comic book falling from the sky. It's a literary miracle.
Yeah, more like a out-of-control comic book collection.
What? No. Don't say that. They'll hear you.
Who? The drawings? Okay, seriously, Lawson, can you please explain what's going on here?
What? A guy can't like comics?
This is not liking comics. This is preventing us from being able to do literally anything on the show today.
Not true.
Look, these comics are all the same.
Yeah, Frog Defenders of Saturn, issue number 106.
It says 109.
It's a misprint, and that's what makes it more valuable.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me that all of these are Frog Defenders of Saturn issue 109?
106.
Why?
Because they're mine, Stephen. They're all mine.
But if they're all yours, that means nobody else can have one.
Precisely.
How much did all this cost you?
A lot.
And you think this is a wise investment?
Oh yeah, no, my investment coach is completely on board with my fiscal choices.
How do you know the word fiscal? And also, your investment coach?
Yes. Why don't you welcome someone who knows stuff? Welcome to the show, Mr. Moneybags.
Hello there, Lawson. Greetings, Stephen.
Hello, Mr.
Mr. Moneybags, that is correct. I love money.
You ever play Monopoly?
Oh, I love having monopolies.
Oh. Okay, well, we know who you are, so why don't you tell us what you know?
Oh, of course, it's all in the name, my boy. It's all in the name.
That's my friend.
You're gonna have to be more specific.
I know money! Bags and bags of money. With money, anything you want is yours for the taking and for the keeping. Remember that, Lawson, my boy?
Exactly, right, yes, and I've been applying what you taught me to my comic book collection.
Ooh.
All for me, and yes, it's true, I want all the comics show, oh, well, for you.
Ah, bravo, bravo.
Well, that doesn't seem very nice.
Lawson, whenever a friend asks me for a favor, do you know what I tell them?
Oh, yeah, I know this one. You say,
I tell them no. All right? I tell them no. You don't need friends or favors in this life. Remember that all you need is pennies, quarters, and dollar bills raining from the sky. Those are your real friends.
but you do have friends that are real people, though, right?
Right?
Oh, of course I do. Of course I do. If you consider Mr. Franklin and Mr. Hamilton. Oh, hello there, Mr. Hamilton. Oh, you're looking mighty green today. Well, thank you, Mr. Franklin. Oh, I'll take that as a compliment.
Is this my future?
Oh, by the way, thank you for inventing electricity. Oh, yes, of course. Oh, and thank you for not throwing away your opportunity.
Okay, it's Bible story time with Kellen.
I need more of these.
Hey guys.
Hey, Kellen.
Hey, Kellen, what do you have for us today?
Well, today we're looking at a parable that Jesus taught, sometimes called the parable of the rich fool.
Did somebody say rich?
Yeah, I did, Mr.
Mr. Archibald Moneybags, son. Mr. Archibald Moneybags. But you may call me Mr. Moneybags.
Okay, Mr. Moneybags. Clearly you're rich, but the person in the story was also a...
Oh, no, I'd be happy to help you tell your little story there, son. And, mark my words, you won't regret it.
Oh, boy. Well, anyway, a parable, if you didn't know, is a story that has a lesson at the end. Jesus used stories sometimes to help people see what he was talking about in different ways. On this occasion, Jesus was teaching when someone said, "Teacher, tell my brother to give me half the stuff that belongs to our family." Now, they must have been having an argument over something about, like, who has the most stuff. So Jesus said, "Watch out. Be on your guard against wanting to have more and more things. Life is not made up of how much a person has." Then Jesus tells them a story. There once was a rich man.
Boo-yay! Oh, I will add this to the 25 smackaroos I won in that beauty contest.
One year, his land produced a very large crop.
Look at all of my crops. Stupendous. But what should I do? I don't have anywhere to store all of these crops. And there is no way I could use all of these crops in just one season all by myself. What to do? What to do? Light bulb! I will take all of my barns and tear them down. Wait for it. Tear them down, but then build bigger ones. And then I will store all of my crops in these newer, larger barns. Ooh. You know, I have plenty of crops, and these crops are going to last me for a long time. I mean, many, many years long time. So I should probably just take life a little easy. I suppose I'll just eat and drink and have a really good time.
But God said to him,
You foolish man, tonight I will take your life away from you. Then who will get what you have prepared for yourself?
No! No! My corn! Ah! Now there's so many bulls! Ah! I'm dead.
To be clear, there were no, and I repeat, no inflatable kiddie pools in Jesus' story. But the rich man did die, and he never got to enjoy all the crops he had stored away for himself. Then Jesus said, that is how it will be for whoever stores things away for themselves, but is not rich in the sight of God. The end.
Wow. That was quite the ending.
Yeah, I think the point Jesus was trying to make is that we only have so much time here on earth. Do we want to spend it caring about all the stuff we have? Or do we want to spend our time caring for the people we love?
Yeah. Instead of keeping all the crops to himself, the rich guy could have shared with the people around him.
And I think that's what Jesus meant when he said we should be rich in the sight of God.
I think you're right. And that sounds like my job is done here. I'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Kellen.
Bye, Kellen. Steven,
Yes, Lawson.
I think I might be hoarding comic books.
Might be.
I don't want to die like the rich fool in Jesus' story. I don't want to end up friendless and alone.
I'm your friend.
Not now, Steven. I have to do something. What should I do? What should I do? I don't... The light bulb. Reveal the question.
What do you have that you can share?
Comic books.
Yeah.
I have so many. You get a comic. You get a comic. You get a comic. You get a comic.
Lawson?
You get a comic.
Thank you.
What do you have that you could share? Could be stuff you have, or you could share your time or your talents.
It's our responsibility to share what we have, and it's one of our rules for life. Share what you have.
Talk about what you have to share with each other.
And we'll see you next week. I'm Steven.
And I'm Lawson.
And this was the So-and-So Show.
Bow, 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 bow.
Hello? It's not about money anymore for me. No, not at all. I'm going to share from now on. Yes. Sharing is caring. I'm going to change my name even. They changed my name. It's not Mr. Moneybags anymore. No. See? It's gone. In fact, my name is Mr. Empty Pockets. That's right. I'm Mr. Empty Pockets now because I give away so much money that my pockets are empty. Hello?
Once upon a time, there's a man named Martin Luther King Jr. It's funny to think about because now we know his name so well. But at one time, he was just a kid. Like maybe you're a kid watching this. Well, he was a kid too. Well, maybe you're a grown-up. That's okay too. Former kids are welcome here. I don't discriminate. Martin Luther King grew up to be a great man, of course. But things weren't all that great in the world while he was growing up. Not everybody was treated like they were somebody. And I believe that you should treat everybody like it's their birthday. But they didn't do that. People looked at the color of their skin, and that's how they decided if they were friends or not. Not cool, man. That didn't make him feel good. That didn't make anybody feel good. But his parents helped him grow up. He went to church. He learned about love. He grew up to be a minister to help a lot of people. He did all sorts of cool stuff. He helped a lot of people learn about love too. But still, he looked around and said, things should be better. He wanted to change things, so he did stuff. He decided, instead of spreading the hate, he would spread the love. He wanted to bring people together. Where people were hurting, he stepped in to help. He marched with them. He walked with them. He walked arm in arm with everyone. And sometimes it didn't go well, but he kept going. Sometimes he ended up in prison, but he kept going. Some people didn't like him, but he kept going. Some days were hard, but he kept going. Love does that, it just keeps going, even when things are dark. And, well, I don't like this part of the story, but things did get pretty dark. Someone who didn't agree with him shot him. He died in April 1968. Now keep pressing it. Why are you telling us this sad story? Come on. I know it. I'm sorry, but it happened. I don't like that happened. Now I gotta tell you something. When things aren't awesome, it can be tough. And things won't always be awesome, but your response can be. Martin Luther King's response? It was awesome. Today I just wanted us to think about this. Isn't it cool that we can change things? Like any of us, anybody. He dreamed and he changed things. And he dreamed and he kept sharing his dreams. They became not just his dream, a lot of people's dream. Like this one. I have a dream that little black boys and black girls will join hands with white boys and white girls and become sisters and brothers. That's a pretty good dream. Let's dream like that. That could change things. I had the honor of being Dr. King's son, Dr. Martin Luther King III. And you can find our conversation in my new book, The President's Guide to Being Awesome. He's a really great leader, and he even wrote a book called My Daddy, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's so good that I want to book it forward. I'm pledging to send 30 copies to a school in my town. What about you? How can you book it forward? Here's a few ways that people are doing it already. Look at this, it's amazing. It's really cool to see it spread. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for being awesome, people. See you next week.
Here we go. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm sorry. All right, I need to tell a story about football. And I don't watch a lot of sports, but I like sports.
Wait, do you ever throw a field goal? Does that count? Is it like a dunk? And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Okay, the best part of a football game, it's like the game-winning play, and everyone is like on the edge of their seats, right? They try to do some magical, whatever tricky thing that you do in football. I don't know, y'all, but it's like real intense, right? So everyone's waiting to see. And then there's a flag on the play. Everyone's just waiting. You're just like watching the replay. You're like trying to like analyze everything. Everyone becomes an expert at this point, right? I don't know anything about sports, so I can't even really talk about football. But it is like intense, right? Even I feel that intensity. The whole stadium, you're watching the replay. They're like, did his foot go out of the line? Was his foot on the line? Was it a touchdown? And then the umpire comes out and you're like, okay, this is it. They're going to decide our team's fate, right? They have a whistle, but I don't think they blow it at this point. At this point, they wouldn't be blowing a whistle, right? They don't blow the whistle to get the stadium's attention. That's dumb. Okay. Oh, they say something like this. I don't know what I'm about to say because I don't know football. The tapes have been reviewed and the powers that be have determined that he was, right? And the whole stadium's like, what? Safe! Half the stadium is freaking out because they're so excited. Half the stadium is like so disappointed. The anticipation, the expectation of what's it gonna be, what's he gonna say, right? And then he finally lays it on you. It's the best. That's the best part of watching football to me. I don't care what you say. What?
So
that's right!
You were blending multiple sports.
No, I wasn't. A flag on the play is football. Referee. They're all the same. Oh, I swore I was all football. Umpire, referee, same thing. They wear stripy shirts, right? Oh, wait, no. An umpire doesn't wear shirts. Fine, maybe you're not into sports and that didn't make any sense, but okay. See if you can go here with me. So there's this guy, right? Is it even me if we're not talking about some guy? I know, Switch. I'm getting my life together, I promise. So there's this guy, right? And we are talking but not talking. He tells me that, hey, I'm actually about to go out to dinner with my friends. And so I text him back and say, cool, hit me up later. And so then he says, oh, it's fine if you still want to text me. I was like, that's like next level. That's like, I'm out busy with my friends, but I still want you to text me. So I'm like in my feelings and like, I don't think. And the next thing I text him without thinking, oh, Switch, I'm so embarrassed. I text him, good, because I like talking to you. The moment I hit send, I wanted to take it back. The moment, I was just like, no, Leslie, that was too much. You're not even really talking. Like, this is too serious. You should not have sent that text, right? And then, worse, right? You know this feeling. You send a text that's like, I shouldn't have sent that, and then they don't respond. And so I'm like looking at my phone. You know how we do. You're like waiting to see, maybe he's at least gonna type something. So you see the bubbles pop up, right? I'm just sitting there like, y'all, at this point, the emotional roller coaster of just like waiting and expecting, like, what is he gonna say? And then I hear it, chime. I take my phone. I'm just like, I don't wanna know. Guys, he hearted it. Yes, we're safe. We win. It's fine. And he finally texts me back like, yeah, he likes talking to me too. So we're good, okay? I just had to let you know that happened. Okay, so we're not talking about sports or relationships. Literally, I told all of those stories just to tell you that today we are talking about expectation. What's up, Switch? It's Leslie, and if I'm not talking about relationships or drawing brain science, what are we even doing? I know, you expected of me by now. But today we are talking about fasting and worship and being expectant of what God could do in and through us when we're yielded to Him. Last week, we learned that worship isn't just about singing, that it's about making God's priority our priorities. It's also just about being open-handed to say, God, what could you do through me if I was yielded and open to your Spirit? Last week, we also explained that we all worship something, right? It's just in our nature to give our best time and energy and attention to something. Sometimes those things aren't necessarily bad, but we can give so much to them that they become demands and distractions. When that happens, we ultimately end up bumping God out of first place in our lives. The things that demand our time and attention, like social media or maintaining our image or our possessions, whatever that looks like for you, those things aren't necessarily bad, but they can get to the point where we worship those more than we worship God. We kind of take Him out of the rightful place of being first in our lives. And usually it's on accident. We don't mean to. It just happens. We asked the big question. We asked, what if? Just what if maybe God wanted to use you to heal, transform, redeem, fix, grow, whatever it is in your community, in your family, in your friend groups, in your entire generation? What if He wanted to fill you with His Spirit so that we could accomplish His agenda of love for all mankind? Wouldn't you want to make more room for Him in your life? And so last week we got bold. We said we were gonna give up things that were hard to let go of in order to make more space for God to move. We let go of sweets, secular music, social media, whatever that was for you, sacrificially, just to say, God, look at us. We are honoring you and we want to hear from you. See, we love to worship God through music. But if we don't learn to worship by living a lifestyle of putting God first, then what are we even doing here? Spiritual discipline is never about just doing the hard thing just to say that you did a hard thing. Also, spiritual discipline is not about doing this one thing super perfectly in order to say, I'm sorry for all my wrong. Let me get this right to make up for my bad or my sin or my wrong. No, that's not how it works. See, if you've already accepted Jesus, you don't have anything to prove. He paid it all. His precious blood covered our sins. If you can't go 10 minutes, 2 hours, 12 hours, a day, a week, whatever it is, if you can't go a certain amount of time without like having to check, I don't want to be the one to say it, but this is a family meeting, so I got to keep it real. You might be addicted, right? This is no judgment. I'm just saying that spiritual discipline is about having the right priorities. And that's all it's really about is making God back the highest priority, not just all the things that are pulling for our attention. The fruit of spiritual discipline, right? Contentment, not being fazed by anything, having ultimate peace, being wise among your friends, all of that is really cool. It looks really attractive, but actually getting there takes work. This is what it says in Hebrews. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it. Ask a bodybuilder, ask an Instagram baddie who has a perfect body, ask Beyonce, ask Craig Rochelle, ask whoever it is that has this massive lasting platform that looks really attractive from where you sit today. Ask them how many hours it took for them to get there. Ask them how many unglamorous, treacherous training hours they put in before they got the platform, right? Because we all want the power, but we don't want the discipline. See, the discipline of denying yourself is about ultimate freedom. It's about being able to find pleasure in saying no when you could say yes. It's about having nothing control you. It's about being able to give up things like sweets, secular music, social media, whatever it is that's occupying your time, just because you can and just because you have a higher priority of hearing from God. There's a guy in history, maybe you've heard of him, his name is Jesus. And right before he kind of blew up with all of these miracles of like turning water into wine and healing the sick and raising the dead, he actually fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. No food, no water, no earthly pleasure, just devoted himself to God. What happened right after the fast? Satan shows up and tempts him, like offers him worldly pleasure after worldly pleasure. He offers him fame. He offers him wealth. He offers him even just like status. Like this is what it says. Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. This is Satan showing these things to Jesus. He says, all of this I will give you if you will just bow down and worship me, right? That's Satan telling Jesus to bow down and worship him. And what does Jesus say back? Jesus says, away from me, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only. Even Jesus replied to temptation with worship. Jesus didn't give in. He had greater expectations for you and for me to live a sinless life so that we could come to know him, so that God can do even greater things through us. Jesus had great expectation. He could see us in the future 2,000 years later. It wasn't worth him to give in to earthly pleasures right now, but to elevate God to his rightful place of priority. Spiritual discipline, fasting, a lifestyle of worship, it all makes us open to God and expectation of what he could do in and through us. It just all works together. Okay, Switch, this is a family meeting, which means that I need to say some things very directly to you without sugarcoating it. First, I want to celebrate you. I want to celebrate your generation's ability to change the world. Like, you guys literally have access to so much technology. You actually want to see change happen in the world, and that is an incredible trait of your generation. But the truth is, you don't change the world without discipline. Switch, you don't change the world with lazy habits. You don't change the world without making some kind of sacrifice. You can't change the world for the better if you're not willing to change you for the better. When it comes to that worship part of the service, where we get to worship God through music at Switch, for those of you who are holding back during worship, I want to give you permission to fully engage. Sing louder, raise your hands, shout, dance, sing, bow, I don't know, whatever it is that gets you there with God. I want to give you permission to move away from the people who might be distracting you during that time. For those of you who aren't there with the way you express yourself to God, maybe you're a believer, maybe you're not, that's fine. That's completely fine. But I want to ask you, could you just not be a distraction to the people who are? Like, maybe in those times you stand there and you wrestle with the lyrics, just read the lyrics, or just agree to not talk during that time, or to maybe even just move away. Okay, this next one might hurt a little, but listen, to those of you who just couldn't care less, like the worship doesn't matter, you come to Switch to hang out, listen, that's fine. I'm glad you're here. Seriously, like, we create a safe space for you to come hang out all the time. But I want to ask you, could you practice a little bit of respect? Could you use the time during worship to say, you know what? I'm just going to respect what's happening on stage. You don't have to participate, but maybe don't distract the people around you. For those of you who would say, like, I don't know this song, or I don't like this song, that's fine. There are songs you don't know and there are songs you don't like. But I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you to think that maybe maybe for this 3 minutes, God is still worth your attention, right? Maybe don't just pull out your phone or start a conversation because you don't prefer this song. Like, could we get to the point where we honor God's power over our musical preference, right? He is God after all. He did bring you here safely after all. Like, maybe you spend that 3 minutes not singing, but making a list in your head of ways that God has been good to you. For those of you who are standing next to a distraction, like maybe you're like, I'm not talking, that's my friends. Listen, I got 2 challenges for you. You can choose one or the other. 1, I'm gonna challenge you to call your friend out, to say like, hey, maybe not right now, let's talk later. But if that's too much, the other option is this. I'm gonna give you this line. You're gonna say to them, hey, I'll be right back. With a smile, don't judge them, but then I want you to move away from the distraction. I promise they stop talking when they don't have an audience. And lastly, for those of you who love worship, who are going in, your hands are raised, you're crying, you're bowing, you're doing the whole 9, listen, I want to encourage you. Keep doing it. Like, keep being expectant. Keep praying big prayers. Don't get discouraged if worship doesn't feel or go the way that you hope it would for everyone. If you're there, I'm challenging you, stay there with God. He honors that. He sees you, and He is so worth it. Keep expecting. The bottom line is this. Don't miss it. God uses those moments of worship through singing to transform us. Don't miss what He wants to do in and through you when you yield to Him. We are so thankful for our worship teams because they do so much for us. Switch, we had to have kind of a tough conversation today, but I want you to know that it's because I love you. Your youth pastor loves you. We all love you so much. And so the discipline hurts, but it's because we love you. So I want to take a moment to wrap up our time by just praying over the requests that you've been taking to God during this fast. If you've been fasting for something that seems out of your control, and probably is, I want to trust God with you, that as you hand over the outcomes, that you will sense His peace being with you. All to Jesus I surrender all, to Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him in His presence daily. If you're fasting because you need peace in the middle of something that seems impossible and chaotic and noisy and loud and stressful and taking up so much space, I want to agree with you. I want to pray and trust God that He will show you the story He's writing and the role that you play in it. Symphony, even in the madness, there's peace, drowning out the voices all around me through all of this chaos. You were writing a symphony, 'cause even in the madness, there's peace, drowning out the voices all around me through all of this chaos. You were writing a symphony. If you've been fasting because you long to know God in the fullness of who Jesus is, yesterday, today, forever, if you're desiring that closeness and that intimacy with who Jesus is, I want to read the scripture over you. Yours, Lord, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the majesty and the splendor. For everything in heaven and everything on earth is yours. Yours, Lord, is the kingdom. You are exalted above all. Praise, blessing and honor. If you are praying to break the chains of anxiety, stress, fear, depression, I am calling on God to be an ever-present help in the time of trouble, that He will be there with you in the valley, and that you will learn to call on His name. There's the darkness and calms my soul when I say Jesus. Even a whisper breaks through my doubting till all. If you you've been bold enough to pray for revival, if you've been bold enough to pray for redemption, for healing, for God's Spirit to move in your community, in your family, in your schools, then I want to agree with you that God is going to take what is death-ridden and dormant, and that He is going to bring it through life, through you, through His Spirit living and moving in you, that you will be filled with His Spirit like a rushing wind, like a wildfire, that you will go out into the world and that you will be the spark of revival in your communities. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there's life. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom, like a river running wild, like a never-ending fire. Where the Spirit of the Lord is. If you've been bold enough to expect for God to do what other people say is impossible, if you've been praying a prayer because you need a mountain moved or you need the unfixable fixed, listen, I serve a God who can do it. He's always done it from generation to generation, yesterday, today, forever. I promise you, He can do it. The same power that resurrected Jesus from the dead now lives in you. He's done it before, and I know He can do it again. If you've been praying for things that you won't see the outcome of this side of heaven, I'm praying that God will give you new perspective, that you'll be able to see the story that He's writing. My way. When